Well, I'm going to go ahead and go back to the question type pull menu, and I'm going to put it back on the original, which was multiple choice, and we'll just take a look at how we start to create these different questions, and then take a look at a live view form here. So for my first test question here, let's actually make it a question. Is this your first Google form? I'll leave the tips to help text there. No reason to get rid of it. But if there's some sort of a helpful tip that you really want your viewers to see, please feel free to put it there. And for the multiple choice, I'm going to go ahead and give as many options as I believe my viewers need. So I'm going to go ahead and give my first option, which is yes. I'm going to click the next grayed out box below, which will then activate that text area, telling Google Forms that I want more than one option. And option 2 will be no. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. No. And I'll go ahead and click down to add another option, an option of I'm not sure. You can also click on Add Other, which will then allow a user to click Other and then to input a more specific answer. They might have maybe they thought they were using Google Forms, but now they're not sure. It just allows you to give the users more opportunities to answer your question. Well, now that I've gone ahead and created my first question, I'm going to go ahead and make this a required question. With some forms, you may have required questions that you need those to be answered before the user can then submit that to be completed. Some questionnaires you may not have to, or you may not want them to be required. Whenever I want a question answered, I just check the box below, required question, and that just simply makes it required. The user cannot submit the form until all required questions have been answered. Well, next to that is my done blue box, when I can go ahead and click that, and it will actually give me a very quick preview of what the question will look like. Is this your first Google form? And next to that, you'll see a little asterisk, and that asterisk will be defined later in the live form as this is a question that is required. Well, if you kind of look at your question and realize, I really don't think I need that last option, the other. It's either yes, no, or I'm not sure. You can take your pointer and click right here on the little pencil, which is our edit button, and that just puts it back into edit mode. And I'm going to go ahead and X that last box out there. And that just gets rid of it quickly. Now that I like what I see, I'm going to go ahead and press done again. If you find that you're going to be using questions, very similar questions over and over and over, up over here by the edit button is a duplicate button. And that does exactly what you think it does. It duplicates that question and then puts it directly into an edit mode. So now my first question is above, and my second question below is an exact duplicate of the last one. Make any very quick changes that you need to with the question title or the help text. Maybe change any of the answers you need to. And then you can go ahead and save that, and you've got 2 questions done super quick. Well, I really don't need this second question, so I'm going to go ahead and use the third tool on our toolbar, a very quick toolbar over here, and that is our trash can. And that just trashes the question. I think we'll go ahead and add a few more items just to get the idea of how quick it is to create these different questions in the form there. I'm going to go ahead and click on the Add Item pull menu. It's located below my question, my first question there. And that just gives us some different question types that we've already looked over before. I think we'll take a look at the text question. This can be as simple as please type in your name. This is what the text area will look like in the form itself. I'd mentioned earlier that a text question is good for a quick one-word answer, or maybe inputting your name there, and that's because this is what your audience will see. Very small, very limiting. You can type on and on and on, but people are not apt to. It feels like that they don't have a lot of room to work with, so they're not going to put a lot of information there. And there's our quick question. Some of you are probably beginning to realize that these are also the forms that you've been filling out in this online class, where every form that I use and you've been inputting, this is how I've created it. So it's really a great way to collect information, as I have been from you. I think it's a good time to take a look at the paragraph text as well. Below their longer answer, and this is the idea of what the paragraph text field will look like. When I press done, you can see the difference right there. This is definitely going to be a one-word or a short answer question. This is more more inviting to type more information in. I think we'll take a look at just a couple more. The check boxes. Well, maybe take a look at all of these. They're also good. It just depends on what you'd like to create. The check boxes. We've got the question type. Oh, I'm sorry. Option 1 is just like the multiple choice, but there's a checkbox over here, and here's option 2, and on and on and on, and they've also got the add others. I'm going to go ahead and check that done. You can see that your question will look like this. You just check which answer you'd like. I'm going to go ahead and add the choose from a list, pull menu question. Option 1, option 2, option 3. These can always be yes or no, true or false, or whatever questions you want. I'll go ahead and do a traditional true, false, and I'll just X these out. Any question you don't want, just go ahead and X out. And there's the pull menu question. Scale question on a scale of 1 to 5, or of 0 to whatever number you're looking for to get the degrees of how somebody feels about something. Below is the 1 to 5, and that's where you want to determine exactly what it is that you're asking for. So if you're asking somebody's opinion on a road being widened behind their backyard, a 1 might be very unsupportive. Quickly change that. To a 5, very supportive of that road widening in their backyard. And I'll go ahead and press done there. And very unsupportive to very supportive. The user would then just check which one or click the button of how they feel. Below that, we'll go ahead and take a look at the grid, which is newer. And the grid is when I take surveys within SurveyMonkey, this is the kind of feel that I believe SurveyMonkey's layout provides for a lot of their questions. So this will be a test question for a scale. Oh, I'm sorry. Test question for a grid. And it creates rows and columns. So thinking back on our discussion on Google's spreadsheet, The rows will be the rows on the left-hand side, and the columns will be headings above, above going across the side, or going across the top as well. So row 1 could be music. And we'll actually change this question to what extra support classes do you find important in schools? So music would be 1, and we could say PE. Looks like I took too long for that. Music, technology, and library. And the column rows could be the answers that you're looking to find from your audience. So we could determine it as very important. Important. This could also be done on the scale, but this just has a different feel. The scale form or the question type, but this just has the different feel to it. Somewhat important. And not important. I'll go ahead and choose the done, and this is what the grid looks like. Like I had said earlier, it really feels like to me a SurveyMonkey layout, which I think people respond to quite well. It's very visual, and it keeps everything in front of you. You can click which one you want. You can say all of them are important. It just gives users more opportunity to see everything visually, and then be able to put their answers out there, lay their answers out there, and then make changes if they need to. I really like the grid question type. It's one that I'm going to be using very shortly with my own class. Well, under the add item, there's also a couple of things at the bottom here that I think are great for layout in order to be able to make things a little more usable or a little more manageable, especially if you use Google Forms to create a long form. You want to be breaking it up into either sections or into headers. So what I'm going to do is come on up the line here, and I'm going to go ahead and click on I'm sorry, I'm going to go to the bottom. Under Add Item, I'm going to go ahead and choose a section header. And what that's going to do is allow me to create a new section within the existing form that I have now. So I'm going to go ahead and put, let's say, grid question type. And I'm going to say done. And what that does is it creates a subsection within my form here. Now, because I actually created it after I had created my grid question, I'm actually just going to drag it up above, and there is my section type that's going to go ahead and give my audience a subsection there. So if you were going to be using Google Forms for an assessment of say math, you could go ahead and create the form and give it a Unit 8, for example, a Unit 8 math test, and then for the different topics covered within Unit 8, you could create one of these section headers to then let the kids know, or to let whoever know, that they're now moving on to a different area of that form or of that assessment. It's a good way to just break it up into different areas and really keep people focused in on what it is that they're working on. There's also a page break. And when I click on that, it's going to create a new page within the test form. And this way you're not going to be overwhelming them with having to scroll down on and on and on and on. We'll do a second page. Second page break. And I'll go ahead and press done. And as you can see right here, it's a bit larger of a gap. Let me bring up my target there. It's a larger of a gap. That's representing page 2 of the Google form there. You'll see that you'll get a pull menu within the form to be able to go from one page to another. And it's another great way to break it up. There's nothing worse than getting a form that is, it could be 25, 50 questions long, and for it to all be on one page, you feel like you're just scrolling on and on and on and on. Break it up, make it more manageable, make it so the user feels like they're progressing and they're going to be finishing up hopefully at some time there.